Hello friends, welcome back to Cosmopolitan Cornbread. So I am in the pantry today and I thought I would just bring you in here and talk about a few things that I'm going to be doing today. You know, I have talked about the importance of having a fully stocked pantry, about having the ability to rely on these things in case of an emergency, whether it is you have a blizzard or an ice storm and there's no way to traverse the roads to get to the store to buy things, whether there's a pandemic that causes people to have to stay at home for long periods of time without seeing other people in civilization and all of that. There is any number of reasons why you may need to rely upon your food storage. And it doesn't necessarily have to be long-term storage, but just your pantry, a well-stocked pantry full of the things that you can use to make healthy, nourishing meals for you and your loved ones, for your family. Now, if I were to tell you that my pantry is always perfectly organized and tidy and everything is, perfectly rotated and all of that, that would be quite dishonest. There are times where I get a little behind on organizing the pantry, or I'll be in a hurry and things just kind of get shoved on a shelf somewhere, or a family member is helping me and they just put things somewhere. Now, in addition to going through, doing my inventory, seeing what all I have, what do I have a lot of that I need to start using up? I can add those things, those ingredients to dishes that I'll put on my menu. What are the things that I'm getting low on that I need to add to my next Azure Standard order, or, watch for sales at the grocery stores and things like that. So going over the inventory is one of the things that I will do, every so often when I'm in here in the pantry. Just a thorough going over. But something that I also do from time to time, and I have not done in quite a while, is a purge. Sometimes I need to do a purge in the pantry. Now, I do my best to try to make sure that we're not purchasing things and putting things in the pantry that we're not going to eat, because I really, really hate wasting food, wasting the money, and all of that. A lot of times I will try really hard to find a way to use something in maybe a different way, to maybe, bulk up something else. But sometimes there's just things that nobody's going to eat them. So those are the things that need to go. Additionally, I will go through, as I'm looking at everything, double check any expiration dates, like say my corn here, or some peas. When I get new ones, all of these get pulled to the front and the new ones go into the back. So the older ones are always getting used up first. And it's just really important. But every so often there will be a can of something or a jar of something that somehow gets missed and will be long past the expiration date. Now, when it comes to expiration dates, though, with food, I'm going to tell you, I don't see them as a set, fast rule. I see them as a suggestion. Just because something is past the expiration date does not mean you can't eat it. Now, I am a little guarded with certain things, like, for instance, store-bought mayonnaise. I'm not going to consume that too far past the expiration date, but I will let it go past a little bit. But things like, say, whole kernel corn or tomato sauce or dry beans or anything else like that, I will definitely use those well past the expiration date. The only thing that's really generally going to happen is you may begin to lose a little bit of the texture of the food. It may be a little bit softer than you're accustomed to. Very long expired food may begin to lose a little bit of the nutritional value. The color may not be quite as vibrant as it was before, but it's going to take a really long time for that food to actually go bad. So I personally have no trouble whatsoever using things past the expiration date. So as I'm going through, and if I do find something that got missed and it's kind of expired, I'm just going to move that up to the very front to make sure that it is the very next, say, can of tomato sauce that I use, and things like that. There's really no need to waste if you don't have to. But sometimes there's things that maybe you purchase them, nobody liked them, nobody's going to eat them, and that is when it is time to actually purge those things, because if your house is like my house, space is at a premium, and when it comes to the pantry, you don't want to waste space with food that nobody's going to eat. And here's an example, is this great big jar right here. So our granddaughter, Willow, went through this phase of loving puff type of snacks. And I was at Whole Foods a while back and saw these little puffs, and I thought she might like them. They were on sale, and they were all good ingredients. They were the Lesser Evil brand, if I remember correctly. Put them in a jar so that, they would stay fresh and, not go stale with them being opened. But nobody likes these. She didn't like them. We don't eat them. The dogs will eat them, but the dogs don't need to eat them. So this is one of the things that is going to get purged out of this pantry. Again, space is at a premium. Real estate is valuable in the pantry. And especially with something big like this needs to go to make room for other things, particularly because I'm getting ready to start doing March Canning Madness. That's going to be coming up pretty soon. I'm going to be doing some canning. I'm going to be making recipes and things that I've been wanting to get into the pantry to actually use. And so anything that is not going to get eaten, that needs to go out and make room for other things. Another thing that I'm going to be getting rid of is these glazed carrots. Now, I know people love these brown sugar glazed carrots, and they weren't bad, but to be honest with you, these were just way too sweet for us. Yes, I make jellies and jams and I make desserts from time to time, but other than that, we don't really consume very sweet foods. And these brown sugar glazed carrots were just too sweet. And I got a bunch of jars of these. These actually ended up getting brought from Alabama when we moved here. And, I canned these back in October of 2020. And, at this point, they're pretty soft. They're syrupy sweet. We're not going to eat them. So I'm going to take all of these jars, dump them outside. I'll let the chickens go at them. And usually chickens aren't huge fans of carrots, but when they're really soft like this, they will eat some of them. So all of these jars will get opened up, dumped out down the hill so the chickens can go and get what they want, and it's not up next to the house or anything like that. So these are going to go. And then I've also got a few jars of jelly and jams that just never got eaten. They were maybe varieties that they were okay, but just not our favorites. And so they just tended to get passed up as we were pulling out things to use. For instance, I have some peach habanero jam, and it was good. It was spicy, it was sweet, But I had made so much of it, we just kind of got tired of it and we just never really used it. So there's just a couple jars of this left in here and things like that. You know, it's just important to go through your pantry from time to time and say, I'm not going to use this. Nobody likes this. It needs to go. And, you know, if it's still good, if you have a family member or a neighbor who would like it, pass them on to them. You know, maybe it's something that they enjoy. So it doesn't have to go to waste. But you don't want to have things in your pantry if nobody's going to eat it. It doesn't matter if something was on sale and you bought a whole bunch of something, like, say, I don't know, split peas. We happen to love split pea soup, but split peas is one of those things that people love or hate, it seems. So maybe you saw split peas on sale, and back during COVID or when the world seemed a little chaotic, you thought, I need to put some things in the pantry, and you bought some, but nobody's going to eat them. Don't keep things in your pantry if nobody's going to eat them. Don't stock up on things that your family hates. So if they're still reasonably good, pass them along to somebody else. Now, food banks and things like that are generally not going to take foods that are expired, but you know, you can find someplace else for these things to go. Like I said, a neighbor, a friend, a family member, somebody might want them. Clear up the space, stock up on the things that your family will actually eat. And again, if you have something, maybe you didn't like it after all, it's got to go. It's got to go. It's wasted space. It is space that you could be utilizing to have things that you actually do use. Your family will eat. Another thing that I do while I'm going through all of the jars and all of the cans and everything is I dust. Because we live in a pretty dry climate, we live on a dirt road, our house gets really dusty really fast. And so as I'm going through all of the things here in the pantry, I just take my feather duster, I go through on the tops of all the jars, all of the cans, and just kind of give everything a nice cleaning. Another thing that I do, and this is important, especially if you do home canning, is I go through and I touch every canning jar that's in here. No matter what size, no matter what brand of lid or anything like that, I go through, and as I'm checking all of the inventory of everything on here, I will pick up every jar, give every lid a tug, and make sure you don't have something that has had a lid with a popped seal, that you have not had a seal failure. Because I will tell you, there is a brand of canning jar lids that I used to use. They're very popular in social media, and I kind of worked with the company for a little while. I'm not going to name the company, but it wouldn't take a rocket scientist for y'all to figure out which company it is. Their product is advertised as being American owned, but they're not made in America. And I will tell you that when I went through my pantry, after I had started using these lids, I started discovering seal failures in my pantry. And there is nothing, there is little more frustrating in your pantry to come across a jar of something that you spent your time, your energy, your money on the ingredients and everything else to can and have healthy foods for your family, that you know the ingredients, you know where everything came from, and to find that it has been wasted because the seal on the jar has failed. So I don't use that brand of lids anymore. I stick with lids that I've had a good track record with, whether it's the Ball canning lids, my current favorite, the Superb canning lids. Those are my go-to. And I've talked before about the Superb canning lids. I love how sturdy their lids are. When they seal down tight. And when you open one of those lids, the pop sound is significant when it releases and you know that vacuum has been broken. But in any case, that is what I am getting ready to get started on. Going through every single shelf, every single row, and doing my inventory, touching every jar, looking at every seal, looking at every expiration date, making sure all the oldest things are to the front to be used, and all of those things that we are just not going to eat are all going to go away and make room for better things. If you have any questions about pantry storage or anything like that, please leave them in the comments down below and I will do my best to answer them. And thanks for spending some time with me here in the pantry. My name is Constance from Cosmopolitan Cornbread. God bless, and I'll talk to y'all next time.